Hello and welcome to Dads Don't Read Instructions. Glad to have you with us. In today's episode we're going to be looking at set number 40615, which is the Tuscan Raider Brickheads, an exclusive to the LEGO online shop, and I'm pretty sure it's in the LEGO physical shops as well. Can't check that, we haven't got one nearby, but if anybody can let me know in the comments, please do so. Anyway, I've only built 2 Brickheads before, and that was several years ago, so this is going to be a bit of an interesting challenge, as I remember that one being quite confusing. But luckily we've got some pretty good pictures, and we have a really nice 3D orbital on the LEGO website, so this shouldn't be too hard. Famous last words. Let's get on with it. Now, believe it or not, that took 4 attempts to get that to work. So we've got a nice eclectic mix of pieces here, all spread out. We've got a couple of these coloured pieces, which, as I know from previous videos, means that they go internally. I find it very therapeutic to organise these, if a little stressful on camera. Now, I'm starting from the bottom this time, working our way forwards. I've got my iPad down to the side with the 3D orbital view, so I'm just flicking around on that. As it says, some of the pictures are pretty good and it's pretty clear how it goes. The problem is how do we get to that external point? Now, this skirt bit was pretty straightforward. I love the little pocket pouches, they're really cool. And obviously the base was the base, but the hands were pretty obvious how they went together, as was the gaffy stick. We don't get to know a lot about the Tuscan Raiders from the movies. We get these couple of shots from A New Hope where they're sort of portrayed as these kind of like feral scavengers in the desert, and we get a couple of shots of them in the pod racing scene where they start shooting at some of the pod racers, and I think there's another one in Return of the Jedi, but it's like an establishing shot, it's not a big deal. Now, this Brickhead required a lot of thinking. Getting this mouthpiece up together was difficult, but also very straightforward, because it was obvious how it was going to fit in terms of the front bit, but how it connected to the rest of the Brickhead was another matter entirely. Where we do start to see more of the Tuscan Raiders, though, is in The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, where you really get to see a more in-depth look at their cultural practices and their behaviours, and they become a lot less one-dimensional, I think, especially when you start seeing their family interactions. And spoilers if you haven't watched the Book of Boba Fett, with the fate of those particular Tuscan Raiders, I was pretty cut up. I thought that was really well done. I know the Book of Boba Fett has its problems, but I really enjoyed it, and it was nice to see this particular aspect of the Star Wars universe being explored. It was basically Dances with Wolves, and yeah, it was good. It was nice to see them becoming that more three-dimensional as characters and as a species go. The problem I had now was I'd got the bottom bit done and I was pretty happy with that. But the rest of the structure, to me, it didn't look like I had enough pieces that would connect and had the external facings to put all the other snotwork and dressings on. So this became a bit more haphazard. So what I decided I'd try and do is essentially build the facing panels that then had to fit onto the core of the model. So I figured if I can sort of slap them on as complete panels, that would make it easier to understand how they were going to be framed by the model itself. But this turned out to be a little bit easier said than done. The face was a real nightmare. I knew I'd built that wrong because I couldn't get it to look... It was the right pieces, but I think it was the nose bit was the wrong way around. It's supposed to face inwards rather than outwards. And I just couldn't for the life of me figure out how that was supposed to work. So I knew I got that bit wrong. However, for a blind go, I was pretty impressed with this. There are obviously some bits that are wrong. You can see on one of the corners, I think it's the back left, that's not right. However, if you put it on a shelf and someone said, "What's that?" You go, "Oh, that's a Tuscan Raider." They go, "Oh yeah, I see that." I'm pretty sure you can get away with that. So I'm going to claim that you don't need the instructions for this one. But yeah, I might leave that one up to you in the comments. Do you think this deserves an instructions not necessary? Or should I really have used the instructions? If you want to vote or comment on the video, that would be great. And we can see where the standard of acceptable inaccuracy lies with my audience. But overall, nice little build. I'm a bit up in the air about the Brickheads. Some of them I think look amazing. Some of them I think are a bit, not so sure. I've bought the Captain Cody, which is another LEGO exclusive Brickhead. That's arriving soon. And we'll have a go at that one and see how that goes. But anyway, thank you for watching. And please join us again for another video soon. Take care and goodbye.